Welcome, y'all. Welcome, y'all, to a special edition here. I am so glad to see you. I have a special guest I'm going to actually bring on the stage. I'm going to bring him on. I'm going to introduce him while he's on with me. And his name is Damon. Hey, Damon, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing? It's Demond. Demond, sorry.
Come on. Oh my
Yeah, yeah,
goodness. Thank you for correcting me because I needed
yeah.
that.
Right.
I don't know if people know this. I'm historically bad with names. And so Damon, thank you so much for correcting me because I want the world to know what your name is, right? So welcome to a live special edition of Tech Niche Tips here. And it's special because I have Damon here. He's gonna be talking about a topic that a lot of people that I know of who are young and get into this tech space, one of the things that they're looking at, one of the benefits that they're looking at is to get into what's called being a tech nomad or being a nomad period where you're able to work from anywhere in the world and be able to keep your job, do your job, and experience what the world has to offer and the many different countries and the many different cultures. And so I have somebody that has not only been able to do that for some time, but he's actually going to be starting something pretty special that we're going to be talking about towards the latter portion of this conversation. But with that being said, thank you so much for joining this live stream, everybody. If you have not subscribed yet, feel free to subscribe because I might be doing more lives like this, and I don't want you to miss it. So, hey, don't do it for me, do it for you, right? So, this is going to be something special. I want to shout out quickly my friend Antoine Wade and Black Heights and what they're doing. So if you were on that live stream earlier today and you're coming over here, thank you for coming through. And for those who are not familiar with his channel, go ahead and check out Black Heights. We are not in competition, y'all, in these YouTube tech streets. We are a family. We support each other. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. So what I'm going to do right now, Damon, is I'm going to talk about your story. We're going to get into that. And then we're going to talk a little bit about what you're looking to do. And then if there are people that are joining the live stream, they could definitely jump on and we could have a little Q&A. And if not, that's totally fine. But I wanted to kind of just dive a little bit deeper into your story.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah. So I guess we can kind of start from my beginning. I kind of started off in logistics. I was in logistics for a while before I got off into tech, and I was looking for something that was more less stressful and had more balance. I was doing an independent dispatcher in the logistics industry, and that it's not really much balance in that industry. It's a 24/7 job. So I was trying to find something that was high paying, like logistics, but at the same time offered me that flexibility of time and things like that. And one of the most important things was being able to work remotely. So I figured tech was the industry for me. Um, Originally, I only thought tech was like programming and things like that. But eventually I learned, that I can get in through tech sales. And that was like a huge shift for me. And once I found that out, I just dove head first into tech sales because I knew it was a way for me to get my foot into tech. And then that'll lead me to, other positions and other things.
Nice, nice. And so I'm curious. I want to find out more a little bit about your journey. Where are you originally from?
I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri. So I'm originally from the States. Yeah.
Nice, nice, Missouri. And so, how was? I have a friend that is educator out there. He's a high school student. Now he's a principal now. So, I'm curious.
Nice.
How was life growing up in Missouri?
It was pretty tough, to be honest. Like where I was from, it was a pretty tough neighborhood, pretty tough background. I don't know. Some people may know that St. Louis is one of the most dangerous cities in the country.
Mm,
So it's always has like a negative stigma to it. St. Louis is a great city, but also it has like a pretty big dark cloud over it sometimes, and um, it's not the greatest place to be from, but it teaches you a lot about life. I think if you can, like they say about New York, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere, type of thing.
yeah, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. No, that's great. And if you're joining the live stream, I have Damon Coleman with me. He is going to be talking about his experience in being a tech nomad. And so if you have any questions, we're going to have a Q&A later on towards the end of this conversation. So go ahead and write in the chat if you have any questions for Damon, because this is a special thing. You guys, I've been hearing it a lot. People get into the tech sales industry because they want to learn, they want to be able to work remotely, travel the world, and we're going to dive into that. But a little bit before that, we're going to talk about how he went from logistics into being into tech sales. So let's talk about that because it didn't just happen overnight. Can you talk about that
Right.
transition?
Yeah. So one of the biggest part of that transition was I was living in Indonesia. I was living in Bali, and in logistics. Logistics is a 24/7 business, but um, it was so stressful to where I didn't really have a life at certain points of time. To where I couldn't hang out when I wanted to. I couldn't be with family, and not be worried about something happening. So, in logistics, being a dispatcher, you're liable for trucks going from, let's say Arizona to New York or any place like that. So you have to make sure that that they're not having breakdowns in the middle of the country, or that they're going to deliver things on time. So it's constant go go go, and you don't really get to relax. You know. So when I was in Indonesia, I got a new look on life. Like I figured out what I wanted my life to look like. And that, 24-hour stress was not part of it. So they kind of flipped the switch to like, okay, now I got to start looking into different industries that fit more with the lifestyle I want to live, the lifestyle I want to, create for myself. Um, and there was only a few that I thought could, position me in a way that would give me the lifestyle I want.
Hmm.
And a lot of things I've seen from people I met out there. They were like programmers, designers, freelancers and things like that. And I didn't really want to get in that way. I'm not a software type of guy. I'm not a, programmer. That's not, I wouldn't say that would be something I'm strong at. So I just tried to find other ways. And then eventually I came across tech sales, and that kind of, opened my eyes to like the possibilities of, oh, I can do this. If I make phone calls all day already, in my current industry. So, what would be the difference of me doing it for another industry that's a little more stable, and it gives me that free time I want. So I just started hunting on anything I could find that had to do that was related to tech sales and tech.
Wow. And so when you're hunting to find out more about this industry that could give you that leverage that you're looking for in regards to travel and work, you found tech sales. What were the things that you found doing your research to make you
So
decide this is where I want to go?
Yeah, I ran across a few different, like, I would say tech influencers that, discuss the industry. Um, you see a lot of those day in the life as a tech sales or account executive, things like that. So I watched a lot of those videos. I watched a lot of Antoine at Black Heights. I watched a lot of his stuff. Um, some stuff that Cyrus put out, and I just studied, Trent Dressel. I just studied their videos for a few months before I'm like, okay, I need to just do it. Stop waiting around, stop procrastinating, and actually do it. So I started searching for like boot camps and ways that I can get that I can get in. And I came across course careers, and I'm like, okay, the price range, it wasn't really too much of a gamble for me, compared to the prices of other like boot camps and going back to school, which was not really an option for me to go back to school. So um, that's what took me the route of like course careers and trying to find like a boot camp that was quick, because I like to move fast. Like I don't really want to, I don't want to take 2-3 years to do something that I can probably learn, in a pretty short period of time. So course career is kind of like perfect for me. And I just seen so many good reviews that I just had to, I just eventually just jumped in.
Wow. So you went from doing logistics to now moving into tech sales through course careers. Can you talk about your experience and how long it took you to get through the course?
For me, I kind of, I would say I slacked off in the beginning. So I got the course and kind of like went through it kind of slowly. And then it became a point where I'm like, okay, if I'm going to do something, go all in. And I probably finished the course in about, I would say, a month. It took me probably about a month to go through the whole course, read the books that they tell you to read, and I just put as much time as I could towards it. So it took me about a month to go through it, and I think I purchased the course in November, beginning of November, and I finished it in December, and then I had a job offer like mid January. So. It was a
Oh,
pretty
so the
quick
transition
turnaround.
was pretty good. That was a pretty that wasn't a long transition that for you at all,
Yeah,
really.
yeah, it was pretty quick.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's great. That's great. And so now just kind of getting again for those that are joining this is actually happening live. I don't want you to think this is actually something that's pre-recorded. We're going to have a Q&A at the end with Damon talking about being a tech nomad and how you possibly can consider that for yourself. And so with that being said, I want to also kind of throw in there a little bit of a question. So I know that you already had the experience of being in Bali, working logistics, and now that you're in, and now that you have landed in tech and tech sales, was it clear from the beginning that this job, the specific job, you don't have to say the company or anything, but the specific job was going to allow you to facilitate that sort of lifestyle that you're looking for to be a tech nomad?
Yeah, so when I was going through the interview process, I was interviewing them as well. So I was making sure that company fit the things that I needed because, I got a decent amount of interviews and a decent amount of offers after I started like focusing on applying. Um, but I asked certain questions like, um, am I allowed to, let's say if I want to work from Dallas, Texas, or, Florida, I would ask questions like, can I work here for a week? Can I work there for a month? I never really go too deep into like working out of the country, but I always ask about extended stays. So like, a month long stay in this state, a month long stay in this state, and I try to figure out if that company's okay with it because some companies aren't. Some companies they want you to be within a certain mile radius of their business or they want you to be like a hardwired connection at home, and it's a work from home, not remote. So it's a big difference. So I made sure in the interview process that that company, would allow the things that I wanted because if they didn't, it wouldn't make sense, and it would just be, us bumping heads because I know, the main thing that I want to do is travel. I want to be able to go when I want to, how I want to, and still be able to work. If I want to go to Mexico for a month. I want to be able to go down there peacefully without having to, have too many issues back and forth with the company that I work with, to cause that tension. And so when you're filling out applications, you got to read those. You got to read those descriptions closely. They'll put some certain language in there that'll let you know, like, no, this ain't really remote. This is more of a work from home type position. So I just really stress that when I'm, interviewing.
Yeah, and you kind of talked about it a little bit. I just want to break that down a little bit more for people. What is the difference between working from home and working remote? Because in some people's minds, it might be interchangeable, but they may not understand the differences. Can you kind of break that down even more for some people?
Yeah, for me, work from home is strictly, you just have a at home office set up. You may have to, be connected to an Ethernet at your specific location. You may have a router that they require you to have, and they track where you are. Some companies track where you are, and they don't really want you working away from home because you may have, sensitive material. You may have sensitive information in your laptop that they don't want to just be out anywhere. Especially my first job was in cybersecurity, and that's a company where you can't log in on your phone. You can't do any of those things. So you have to be you can work from anywhere, but you have to have certain precautions set up when you work from that spot. So work from home is typically hardwired connection. You're just doing the exact same thing you would be in office. You know, at a specific time at home, but more remote is, there's no boundaries on where you can go, as long as you have your laptop and Wi-Fi, you can go. Um, that's what I would consider remote. And even, if you go deeper into that side of it, it would be working at on any time zone as well. Being able to work, instead of you having to work on the US time zone, you can work on any time zone that you choose. Most companies, I don't think that's an option for most companies. Some it is, like the company that I will be starting at May 1st, that is an option that they have to where you can work different time zones, but most companies, you just have to work on their specific time zone. But there's no boundaries on where you can work. So I think that would be a big difference. You're still muted.
See, now you know that's live. Now we know if you had any questions about it before. Now you know this is live. Well, no, I have. I think that is a very important thing to just kind of talk about is that difference. Sometimes people don't realize that there's a huge difference in that, right? And
Yeah.
so, with that being said, I wanted to kind of talk to you about now that you have been experienced. Now, talk about going into tech sales. I want to talk about your experience transitioning, and now in that lifestyle of being a tech nomad. Can you talk about how that has been for you?
So for me personally, I like it. My first role at a cybersecurity company, it was a pretty it was a pretty hard, change, because
Yeah.
I'm not a tech I wouldn't consider myself a tech person, a techie
Hmm.
person. So cybersecurity was kind of like brand new to me. I just did
Yeah.
a little research before I started. So um, starting at a cybersecurity company was a big deal as far as the amount of information that I had to take in. So I had like a 85-page pamphlet I had to go through and like just learn certain things. So that was a big adjustment. But I think it all boiled down to like the same thing, being able to talk to people. And tech sales is
Mhm.
all about being able to talk to people. So I learned after making so many calls and um, talking to so many different people, the information um, wasn't super important, but my being able to relate to the actual customer was more important than the information, and I'll be able to learn the information as I go versus having to know everything up front. I was able to learn the information as I go. And then, but at a new company that I'll be starting in May, it's a travel fintech company. So that's right, right in my area. So that's a perfect fit for me because I know a decent amount about the industry. So that's perfect for me. So I don't think it'd be a hard transition at all with that company.
Yeah, I think that that definitely aligns with your values and what you like. And so I'm going to just throw out another reminder to those that are watching. Feel free to put any questions that you have in the comment section. We're going to address that towards the end for Q&A. So I just want to make sure that you don't forget to do that. We're going to be talking about any questions you have about travel, even to get the best deals. We're going to be talking about all that coming up. And so with that being said, so what does life look like for you now? And we're gonna and this is gonna be a segue just to kind of give a heads up into talking about what endeavors you're doing right now, the one that was posted about recently. But yeah, talk about what you're doing right now in regards to um, travel and things of that nature.
So right now I'm staying kind of still, just because I'm starting a new position. I don't really want to, overwhelm myself. My original plan was to be in Mexico May 5th and be there for a month. Um, Great thing about Mexico, same time zone as the US, cheaper, cost of living, and it's still safe in most places. Even though they tell you it's not, it's pretty safe in most places, in Mexico. So that was where I was initially intending on going, but since I'm starting a new position, I'm going to move a little slower with with the travel. I do have some trips planned. I'll actually be in Dallas next weekend, then DC the weekend after that. Um, and then I'll eventually get out the country probably in July. Have some plan for July to go out there, experience Mexico for a little bit, and also take my daughter because she'll be on summer vacation. So I'll have time to be able to kick it with family and still be able to work at the same time. So um, mostly just working on this new position and getting everything started with founding a travel company. So that's the main focus right now.
And it's so funny when we're talking. I see Makia. Forgive me, I'm not the best with names. So Makia, thank you so much for putting Viva la Mexico. Yeah, I want to go to Mexico. I went to Cozumel before. I went to some other places, and it's beautiful. If you haven't been,
Yeah,
go. If you haven't been, go. And Honduras is beautiful as well. I went to some places there. And she says that sounds awesome. Congrats. And
thank
yeah,
you, thank you.
yeah, congrats to you, Damon. And let me talk about a couple of things as well. Let's talk about let me see. Somebody has a question for me. I'm going to answer that in the Q&A spot because I want to kind of keep track of what we're talking about. But thank you, Brandon, for that question. I do see it, and we're going to get to it. In regards to the countries that you have been to, what countries have you been to give people a sense of your travel?
So I would before I say that, I also like to. I'm a slow traveler. I'm not the typical nomad. I would consider myself more of a slow mad. So I like to be places for a long period of time.
Oh wow.
Versus Indonesia. I was in Turkey, um, Mexico. Where else have I been? Oh, uh, uh, first I went to I was in Dubai for a second, but that was really a really short period. But so I don't really count that because I wasn't there long enough to actually enjoy, you know, the scenery. But I like to move slow. So when I go places, I like to stay for a month or or longer to, you know, envelop myself in the actual culture, learn from the culture, find friends and things like that. So I would consider myself a slow mad more than just, the normal nomad who moves around like constantly, you know.
Yeah. Gotcha. Now that's cool. That's cool. That show that you really want to take in that culture, like you said, and really kind of learn while you're there and immerse yourself in it, which is great. Yeah, and I see that David mentioned that he's definitely planning a Mexico trip this year. Go ahead for it, David. I think that's a great idea. I'm going to try to
Definitely.
do something too. So let's now pivot into one of the things that we wanted to definitely talk about today. And I have the website right here, but I want to have you talk about it first before I actually show all that you have going on. This travel company that you have, I think it's a great idea. Can you talk a bit about what you're looking to do, especially for those that are in tech sales or in the tech industry that want to have this experience?
Yeah, so the company is called the Black Tech Retreat. I put this together just because I wanted a way to network with people like me, people of color, and kind of
Yeah,
bring us together to where we can, connect outside of just the professional realm, but still have a professional backing to the event. So being able to connect with other tech people and other tech professionals, um, while being able to have fun. I feel like it's a deeper connection when you're able to have fun with a person, drink, you party on boats and you just these different excursions and things like that. You build a deeper connection. So being able to connect with people, that may be a leader at certain companies, maybe a founder of a tech company, or maybe in a position
mm,
that you're looking to get into, and those connections go a long way. That network goes a long way. And
yeah,
with the tech industry, we only take up about 5%, I think, of the tech industry. So I want a way for us to be able to come together and build a community, build a true community and really get to know each other and really just, build like a family type vibe. So all these trips
yeah.
are community based. Um,
Hmm.
so it's a 7 day trip. We have different excursions like ATV and whitewater rafting. We go see different waterfalls, different like beach clubs, boat trips, things like that, all in this 1 week retreat. And then we also have a 1 day conference. And the conference kind of
Mm,
covers, we have a few speakers at the
yeah,
conference, and it'll be teaching different things like know different tips to to become a remote worker and how to work remotely efficiently because it's not
yeah,
always easy. Things like how to get that next job, how to land that next tech job, how to fix your resume a certain way and things like that. So um, I think it's going to be a great event, and I think people are really going to love it. And this is just the first one is going to be in Bali. The
yeah.
second one we're already in the works of it for Tulum, and the theme is 100 people, 10 plus villas for 1 week. And we just
Mm,
connect that 1 week and really really come together. And each villa is 4 or 5 bedrooms. So I think we want to do like hotel style where everyone has like, everyone's like separated. I want to do
yeah,
like, real community based, being able to live with a person for a weekend. You're going to connect deeper than you would if you just see that person for an hour on the excursion. So um, we have all these different villas that we've selected, and
yeah,
we will group people together in groups of 5 to 8, depending on how many rooms each villa hold.
yeah.
And there will be a personality test to kind of figure out which personalities, mesh well with each other. So if you're more the chill, relaxed type, you're not going to be in the villa with somebody who wants to party all night. So
Mm.
so
Yeah, that's not gonna
yeah,
work.
so we try to set it up to where it
That's not gonna
works
work.
out for everybody to have a great
Couple of
time.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's great. I'm trying to cover this outside light. But yeah, no, that's great. And I do see some questions here. We're gonna hit that Q&A in a few, but I want to just show the website because I want people to kind of get an opportunity to look at the website here. And in fact, I'm
Thank
gonna
you.
put the website in one of these banners so you could kind of see it. But basically, it's blacktechretreat.com. Very simple. If you want to go check it out, I'm going to kind of walk you through the website so you can kind of see a little bit about what it is that Damon is talking about here. So that's the website, blacktechretreat.com. And it's going to be in Bali. And like you said, 7 days, right?
Yep,
So you
7
could
days.
register. Wow, 7 days. So you could register here. And I'm just going to go real quickly through that. Well, I'll leave the website down here so you guys could copy that for here, but you could see the description. You can register now from September 1st to September 8th, right?
Yep,
And it goes through the 100 people, 10 villas, like he said. And then you could get a look at the villas. It's beautiful, man. It's beautiful.
yeah,
I never been to Bali, but these pictures alone, when I was watching this, I was like, this is tempting.
yeah, yeah,
and man, alternate terrain vehicles and everything like that. Like it's really kind of something. Oh, Brandon,
yeah.
I see your question. I'm definitely gonna respond to that. But yeah, like this is as said right here, this is all fire
Yeah,
right now.
and I think one of the best parts of the itinerary is we have I don't know if you can see the third picture here. That's an
Yeah,
actual picture of like where we will be having dinner on one of our days. So it's
nice.
spaces for 100 people is right. So the ocean is right behind those palm trees. So it's like the right on the
Wow.
ocean. It's this amazing 19 course meal. It's gonna be an experience,
Wait, you
man.
said 19 course meal? Like
Yeah,
one
19
nine.
course meal, one
Those must be
nine.
some small bites, but they'll
So
they'll fill you
they'll
up
be
quick.
bringing out big fishes, like a big fish on platters, like all these different.
Wow.
It's an amazing experience,
Wow. Wow. I could tell some people's mouths are watering just by the description.
man.
Let's go to the schedule here. So you have the day one is a network mixer. Day two, there's this whole conference, Luwatu Cliff Party. I didn't even know what Luwatu is. I guess that's what you're talking about. The third one here, that's the Cliff Party.
So no, that's a different day. So the Uluwatu Cliff Party, it's optional depending on your style of how you hang out. But after the retreat, Uluwatu Cliff Party, it's like the south of Bali. So it's about what's the south? Yeah, south part of Bali. So it's about an hour away
Okay.
from where the conference will be, and it's like a cliff over. It's a beach club overlooking a cliff,
Yeah.
and it's one of the largest beach clubs actually in the world. And
Wow.
it's just a nice nighttime, event.
Yeah, no, and Bali as the first trip, and then Tulum is wild.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying here. And yeah, don't forget, guys. If you have any questions, put it in there. I'm not putting the questions up now because we're gonna get there, but yeah, feel free to put your questions. Brandon, I see your questions. I see your questions, Othniel. So definitely, forgive me. I'm bad with names. If I pronounce that wrong, forgive me. But yeah, so I definitely see your questions. So I want to make sure you guys know that we do hear you. And that's great. All this sounds so good, says Jera. What up, girl? Good to see you, Jera. Yeah, she's like, all this looks so good, and it's really something else. You got whitewater rafting. There's a free day where you get most of your week to kind of, I guess, check out the area. Would you say?
Yeah. And
And
we have, on that free day, we have things that we'll have like a list of things that you can do, and we'll have everything set up for you. So if you
mm,
want, like, on the first day, we give you like a list of options of things to do on your free day. So like if you want to get massages in your villa,
oh,
if you
don't
want to
say
do
that to the
yoga,
ladies.
right?
They're like, sign me up today.
Right.
That's what they're saying right now.
Yeah, if you want to do like yoga, things like that on your free day, we help set those up. So at
Wow.
each villa, we have a team. It'll be a team that helps you get around. So it's always a car available to drive you around during this
Whew.
whole week. So if you ever need food, anything like that, it's all there for you. Everything is close by, and each villa has its own personal driver as well.
Oh wow. And then again, you have a boat day. That's day five. Then you have a quad biking dinner under the stars. I think that was what you were showing earlier with that.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
under the star. And then you have a Finn's Beach Club. Um, and so
yeah,
there's just so much here, and there's even a video here for anybody that wants to check that out. I won't take time to do this right now, but I'll let let's dive into the speakers, because in the video you guys can check out on your own. But let's talk about the speakers. Some of them you might know already, which is really cool. We have Chase Nelson Murray, who's a solutions engineer, sales engineer. Cool.
yeah.
And then we have Naja, life coach and career coach. You already know who Naja is. If you've been a part of Course Careers and you've been following the channel, yeah, so she's part of it. Ren is going to be a speaker as well. So this is really cool, is that you have not just you have people that you may know of or admired, and now you get the chance to be around them for 7 days, pick their brains, learn more about what the industry has to offer. There's so much different opportunities within this week. And one thing I want to kind of point out here is that, honestly, when it comes to it, and I'm going to put it back to just me and you, when it comes to it, and when it goes to networking, the power of networking, man, the power
Man,
of networking. I'm more of a believer now. I love my company. My company is great. But when you look in the world and you see all the things that are going on, career, 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 career protection, right? Career security. I
yeah,
feel like it definitely trumps job security in most of these sectors, right? So, with
I
that
agree.
being said, I think that this is a great time to segue into the Q&A. If you have questions about the trip, if you have questions, even if it's not about the trip, we could definitely talk about it. And with that being said, I'm going to go to the first question that was put here. That's for both of us. It's from Brandon. He says, for Joseph, how has it been transitioning into sales in general? And then for Damon, what tricks do you have for applying for fintech sales? And so this is all about helping and educating people with what we know. For me, transitioning into sales, I'll say this first. I was already doing sales. I was doing solar sales prior to this, inside sales. I was qualifying leads. So a lot of what the SDR does, that's what I was doing, but I didn't have the language to call it that. Because we didn't say that in where I was from. So in regards to that transition, it was not as hard as I thought it would be. However, there was things I needed to learn along the way. Every tech company operates differently, so you want to take your transferable skills to the table. And I'm going to let you know from right now, even though I had that sales background, I'm not going to lie to you. Course Careers helped me a lot because they provided the language, the understanding of the terminology, and it made me understand, oh, this is what this is, and that is what that is.
Right.
So if you are in Course Careers, know that you are in the right place. If you want to get into Course Careers, the link is in the description as well. So go ahead, and they provided discounts for their graduates. So I have a discount code as well, 50% off. 50. Whoa. Let me take that back. Not 50% off, $50 off. Because 50% off is a lot. But
Yeah.
$50 off if you use my code as a thank you. That's a thank you that they give to their graduates. And so, yeah, definitely check that out if you're not in Course Careers. Now, the question that you have for Damon, I'm going to let him answer that. What tricks do you have for applying for fintech sales?
So for me, I got really granular and really specific about the companies I wanted to work for. Um, I started off doing like the spray and pray method, just doing as many applications as possible, and I quickly realized, nah, this ain't gonna work. I'll be applying forever. So I basically followed one of the things that actually, Course Careers talks about is do the job to get the job, and for me, I put together a list of about 100 companies that I wanted to, that I was interested in working for, and I got through probably about 20 before I was hired. But um, what I did was simply reach out. I put those 20 in a list, and I went to figure out who the recruiter was, who the sales manager was, and who the VP of sales was. So that those were the three people I looked for at every single company. And I
Mm,
reached out to all three of those, at every single company I applied for. So I emailed, sent them a LinkedIn connection. And then after, a day or two, I sent them a LinkedIn message. And that method right there got me, probably 95% of the, companies I applied for, um, I got interviews from, you know. So that one method, some of the times I didn't even apply for the company yet. I was reaching out, I was reaching out to the companies first and then applying. And like if I get a like say if I reach out to a recruiter for that position, if I get them to, respond to my message, then we start a conversation and then I apply and then I'll tell them I'll apply. And then they instantly go pick, go pull my application. So it was kind of like, me getting in the door and then kind of like, keeping my foot there until I got all the way in. So that was a method that worked for me. And it was, to me, it worked flawless because I'm still getting, people calling for interviews, to this day. So that's the method I use, just getting real granular and really, reaching out to every single person you can at that company.
Wow. Wow. Y'all taking notes? take take notes. By the way, if you're watching this on LinkedIn, this video will not be up for a long period of time. I'm probably gonna have it taken down, but it will be up on YouTube. So go to YouTube and subscribe to the channel if you want to see this replay. But that right there, take notes, y'all. Take notes. That's all I'm gonna say. So I'm gonna go to Atheniel. I think that's how you pronounce your name. Forgive me. I get it. I'm not the greatest at names. It takes me some time. Let me, I just see that you said, hey, you have a question. I just finished my tech sales course. And you say, however, most applications have been complaining, most companies, I guess, have been complaining about my location when I apply, which is in Jamaica. So you are living in Jamaica, it sounds like it. You're applying to companies in the US and other places, and you're having a hard time. Well, my question to you is, where are you applying? That's my first question. I'm going to pass it to Damon after this, because what I'm learning is that there are SDR positions all over the world
Everywhere.
and everywhere. So you're talking. So what I would say, and I'm going to take it from my point of view, because my family's from Guyana. So if I know of somebody who's interested in being an SDR from Guyana, I know that they have a great relationship now because Guyana found oil. So I know they have a great relationship now with certain countries, like especially Britain. They're opening the doors there. So there's actually free transport to not free. Let me take that back. But it's just I think you could go there without a visa or something like that, something of the nature. Do your research on that. But for those that are from Guyana, they have a relationship there where they could basically look for companies that are in the UK, whatever the case may be, and see if they can kind of work something out from there. So I would say if you're from Jamaica, try to see if there's companies that or countries, excuse me, that have relationships with Jamaica that won't have that problem with you going. If you do the US, it might be a little bit more tricky depending on what company it is. But I would say try that first and see what you can do there. I don't know if you're open or if you can relocate, but I'm going to ask the mom what his thoughts are. But that's my first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah, mine is kind of similar. But because I get a lot of people that actually reach out to me that are from, different countries, and I just show them like, look, you can go to, any city nearby and, and type in something and you will find the SDR role. Like it's
Mm,
from what I've seen, it's SDR roles all over Europe, all over, South America, things like that. The pay may not be, equivalent, but there are a lot of countries that, I mean, there are a lot of companies that actually hire internationally. So when you're doing your search,
mm.
you can search for those companies on LinkedIn that are, international, that do business internationally. So the company that I actually work for, that I start on the first, they're actually out of Amsterdam. They are a U.S. based company, but their headquarters is in Amsterdam, and they have, people in 30 different countries. So they hire for all over in different regions, and it's plenty of companies just like that, on LinkedIn.
That's a great response. And so hopefully, Othaniel, again, I don't know if I said your name wrong. Forgive me. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me via LinkedIn. I think the same true is for you, Damon. That
Yeah.
they can reach out to you as well. So yeah, reach out to us via LinkedIn, and we could see how whatever the resources we could provide you. With that being said, I'm gonna move on to Brandon. You had a question here. It's just challenging working from home with so many kids. I guess that's for me because I have the six children. I don't think you have six children.
Nah.
So let me ask Damon a question, and this could probably be relevant. This will be relevant to what we're talking about. Have you heard any background noise from my kids in this conversation thus far?
Not at all.
All right. So with that being said, I mean, and they're running up and down. They're like outside, and I'm like, thank God for this big old thing right here called iconic Mars, this booth here, because it insulates a lot of that sound. It's not. it's actually a lot easier. And the only reason why is because my wife is home. My wife is now home. She's studying her master's in mental health counseling. She's homeschooling our kids. And so when I'm not working, I try to come and assist her. When I'm not doing this stuff, I go out and assist her. Like last week, Saturday, I didn't do any tech thing. I was folding clothes, I was building desk, I was being a father. And so that balance, that 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 balance, or I should say imbalance, because I'm doing more of this than that, is seasonal. And that's what allows me to be able to give my all to this now, because I know that in another season things will change. But in this particular season, my responsibility is to work, to provide for my family, is to be present when I'm not. And that's pretty much how I get it done. So hopefully that answers your question. Is it challenging to work from home with so many kids? It could be, but right, it's not as challenging because of my wife and because of how we do things in our home. All right, so let me go down. That was a good question. Bali is the first trip to. I've just seen some of the comments from before. All right, let's go to this one. How do you become a speaker for future retreats?
You can just reach out to me on LinkedIn, and I find people that have some value that I think they can give to the audience, and put them through like a quick questionnaire to see what they want to provide, and if it fits with what we have going on. But I'm definitely open to more speakers. I'm actually open to more speakers for Bali as well. I have a few more that I'm going to add to the list, but I wanted to wait until I put the official announcement out before I add them to the website. But yeah, I'm definitely open. I want to do different panels and things like that to get people the knowledge, because I want us to have fun, but I also want us to gain something from the experience as well. So, if you can gain a connection or, a trick to help you get a new job, like that's huge. So I want to be able to, not only have fun, but, you know, put some education out there. And like for, the BLK for Black Tech Retreat is it stands for build connections, learn, and then kick it. So I want, that BLK is a major part of what I want to do. Just be able to get people together, teach them, and then let's have fun. Like I'm a person that like to have fun. I like to enjoy myself and not be so, stuck up in the professional environment.
Yeah.
So yeah, so when this retreat, it's going to be more than just a professional thing. It's going to be more, because I tell people no professional clothes allowed, like at the retreat. So I want to see no professional clothes, no suit and ties, no, nothing like that. Like, let's just come have fun. Bali's hot anyway, so you're gonna sweat that suit out. So
Yeah.
so yeah, just come to have fun. Like it's gonna be a professional environment, but we're gonna have fun in that professional environment.
Yeah, I want to do some quick shouts before we get to the next question here. Shout out to Alex. Thank you for checking in. Alex is big people, so I'm not gonna say from when, where, and from when, but for him to shout us out like this is pretty cool. And then Brandon, I appreciate that the questions have been answered, and hopefully, we could continue to answer more questions that you have if you have any more. And then, I gotta look at I have glasses on. I need glasses for my glasses. Makia, she's like, okay, be okay. Build. Let's say it again. Build. What is it again?
Build connections,
Build connections.
learn,
Learn
and
and
kick it.
kick it.
Yep.
Kick it. Like the song. All right. All right. So let me go to the next question here. Interested in picking up on a language in Mexico. I guess that's a statement, but it had a question mark in there. So let me ask you this now that he kind of made this come out. How much do you need to know the language in order to travel? That's a question I was thinking. Like, do you need to know Spanish to go to Mexico? Do you need to
No.
know? Talk
For
about it.
for me, I don't know. I don't know Spanish. I don't know. In Indonesia is Bahasa. I don't know Bahasa. So um, you pick up on a few phrases, like the main phrases. Thank you. How to ask for help. So things like that are the main thing. When traveling. So you don't really
Nice.
need to, depending on where you are. Some places you do need to know the language because you may be in the deep of it, but most places that are touristy, you don't really need to know the language. Just learn a few phrases, and the locals will help you out like immensely. Like if they see that you're trying, they're definitely going to help you out immensely. And then it's things that you can, it's certain apps that you can use like Google Translate that you don't even need to know the language, like as far as like reading road signs, menus, and things like that, because you can just put your camera up to that language and it automatically translates it, for you.
Technology.
So yeah, so technology takes away a lot of that, nervousness when traveling because you don't really need to know the language.
Wow, that's so good. That's so good. And I think this is the last question I see here. So if you have any questions, if you don't put it in now, then I'm probably not gonna get to it. But I think this is the last question I see, and this is from Jera. I think I missed him saying this. Is yoga and massages provided daily or during the free day? Like what she wants to know what days
Um,
provide that. See, I told
yeah.
the ladies will be ready. The ladies were like, massage? Where do I sign
Right.
up?
But yeah, you can get them on more than just a free day. So
I'm gonna
you can
share
get
the
them
screen while you talk about it.
yeah,
Yeah.
whenever you're free, you can get these different massages. And then the massages are really cheap and really good, So that's one of
Mm.
the things I wish I took more advantage of when I was there, because paying $5 to $10 for a great massage, like I should have been getting a massage on a regular basis, but I wasn't,
Wait. You said
But
$5 to $10
yeah, like five
US?
to ten dollars to get you a good massage. Yeah,
Wait a
yeah.
second. Let's pause for a second. $5 to $10 for a good massage, right?
Yep.
When you just said that, it made me think, if somebody, let's say somebody who just got into tech sales, young person, they don't have much left here in the United States. They have family and friends, of course, but they don't have like they don't have like a immediate family. They don't have things that are tying them down here. If they were going to go to someplace like Bali with a 50K salary, let's
Oh,
say, plus
right.
commissions, how would they be living? Like the quality of life?
Like a king. Like
Ooh.
honestly, so when I was there, my monthly expenses were, I would say, about 15, 1600. And that was me eating out pretty much, every day. Um, just having fun, going to different excursions. Like you can live a great life for 50K, like a great life. I don't mean,
Wow.
you don't have to have like some, shack that you're living in. I mean, you can have like a nice villa for, a few $100s. um it's a amazing place to be. Like the food is fairly cheap. It's my goal, like I tell people, anybody that, I have friends here that I see that are just getting into like, tech and just getting those, decent paying remote jobs. And I'm like, if I was you, the first thing I would be doing is going to a country like Mexico, going to a place like Mexico, or, Southeast Asia, where the cost of living is extremely low to where you can live like you make, $500,000 when you only make, $60,000.
Mm,
The
mm.
lifestyle is very different. You know, in big tourist areas, it's a little you can get a little less, but right outside like those main tourist areas, like the I had me and my friends, we shared a villa. It was a 6 bedroom, 7 bathroom villa. We were paying 1,800 a month, total. So we split this, and this villa was on the cliffside. The pool was on the second floor, and we had ocean views. So we were paying about
Mm.
400 a piece to live in a place that we had cleaners that came 6 days a week. We had a chef that came 3 days a week, and like you can just live this amazing lifestyle. And I still never spent over $1,600 a month having a lifestyle like that.
Wow.
There's no way that I can do that here to have a personal chef, a cleaner 6 days a week, um, and live in that type of place, you know. So it was just it's an amazing place, man.
Let me say that again. Personal chef,
Yep,
a cleaner, housekeeper,
yep,
and you are living in a place that's considered luxurious, right? My
definitely,
English is terrible right
definitely.
now. Uh, on $1,600 a month.
Yep,
I'm gonna let that sink in for the young people, the people that can have the opportunity to move. I'm pretty set. I have 6 kids. I'm here. But for
yeah,
y'all that can, this is a tremendous opportunity. So I got a couple of questions. And Brandon, he concurred. He's like, man, I would love to move to the country with my family, and you can. I
you
would
can.
say look at Mexico for that for sure. Same
Yeah,
time zone and everything.
Yeah, that's the major thing about Mexico, being on that same time zone. And a lot of people think that, you go to these countries and they don't have good schools. They have, great international schools that, rival our schools. They have great, homeschooling programs to where you can meet other parents to do the exact same thing, you know. So like in Bali, they have, one of the best international schools in the world in Bali, and it's, it's a great place that I would think, would be a great place to raise kids and a lot cheaper than, living the US, lifestyle.
Yeah, that's why I started homeschooling my kids. 'Cause I'm like, hey, if the opportunity opens itself up, we want to be ready.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
wherever we go.
Yeah,
Well, I got a couple questions here, and then we're going to wrap it up. It's two more from Jasmine, and then I'm going to get to you, Darren. But Jasmine asks, are there any things that you look for or questions to ask to determine if a company position is work from home, work from anywhere versus remote? I think she means work from home versus remote.
yeah,
And you touch on about it again. If you mind doing another synopsis on that, I think it'll be helpful to those that just joined.
for sure. So one of the main things I ask is about like the connection. Like, do we have to be connected to an Ethernet, or do I have to, have to have a company modem? That's one big thing. And then I also ask, how do they feel about me just going to work in Dallas or me going to work in California for 1 month? And I never say out of the country initially because it may scare them a little bit. So I always just say a different state. So if I wanted to go visit my mom in California, can I stay there for a month while I work? And that answer that they give will typically let you know if they're actually okay with. So if they say, oh, sure, that's no problem, then you know that you can possibly work from anywhere. But if they say, oh, well, we'll have to see if we can, figure that out. You have to put in a request months in advance, and they start to give out excuses about why you can't do it. Then you know that they're not as flexible. But when the company just doesn't, oh, you can stay for a month. Like we don't, just let us know when you're going, and that's it. So companies like that, they're set up to handle people truly working remote because working in different states even, has different tax repercussions. So like you may be able to work in Dallas for a month. You may be able to work in Texas for a month with no tax issues for the company. But I think a state like Colorado, you can only work for like 15 days before you have to report like taxes for that company. So if the company is structured correctly, they wouldn't really care where you work. But if they have certain tax implications, then they don't want you working in a place like California because California has such high taxes.
Good question, Jasmine. Good question. I think there's so many more layers to that that honestly you might need to reach out to Damon to speak with him more in private, probably
Yeah,
anybody because there's so much things because you could go for a period of time and then come back, of course, to the U.S. visit family for holidays and stuff like that. But again, the taxes, all those different things are above me. So I would say Damon's the man for that.
yeah.
I do
Reach out
have
anytime.
yeah, and the last question we have here before we head out, and I'm just leaving these villas up here because it's just a beautiful sight. Or even this, I'll leave your logo so they could see what it is. The company again, I'm going to add that banner before this last question, just to remind people it's blacktechretreat.com, www.blacktechretreat.com, and definitely look into that for yourself. And let me go back to the comments here. The last question that we have is going to be from uh, Darren, I believe it's pronounced. Forgive me again if I said it wrong. Um, how can you establish meaningful connections with others when you are new and feel like you lack something valuable to offer? Okay, let me talk about this because this is the reason I'm so glad that you have this question here because this is the reason why I created Techniche Tips, the channel on YouTube. The reason why I connected this is because I saw people in this industry that were doing some great things, and I always wonder, like, man, how do they get there? The money is great, all this is great, but what was their story? What was their journey? Like, how did they get there in the first place? And then I started talking to people and realizing, hey, there's there's much value in my life as much as there's value in their life. There's much to my story and value in my story as much as it is in their story as well. And so that's what I want to say to you is right now you have value. You have value. There's value in who you are already. All the things that you have been through in your life, all the setbacks that you've had, all the triumphs that you've had, all the tragedies that you have, they molded you to be who you are today. And trust me, they see the value in you more than you see in yourself. When I say they, the company, people around you see the value in you, but we all, when it comes to ourselves, we just tend to kind of not see ourselves as valuable, and or that we're not good enough because of X, Y, and Z. Let me throw this out to you, and then I'll pass it to Damon. But like, if a company hires you for, let's say, $15 an hour, you are not providing them $15 of our worth of business or service, or you're not adding just that amount. You're adding way more than that. That's why they hired you for the 15 minute $50, because you're actually providing more revenue than that $15, than you probably even realize. And so I want you to keep that in mind, that if they're hiring you for a certain amount, whether it be $50,000, if it's $50,000, I mean, you're probably making them way more than that. And the higher the number you go, the number that that they're hiring you for, that's that plus some, plus a lot more. Let's 10x that or whatever. You're probably providing that much more revenue to that company or not. So they see value in you. It's important for you to see value in yourself. But let me go back to the first part, because I got a little and I'm gonna pass it to you, Damon. I got a little bit emotional there. But establishing meaningful connection starts with a hello, with you reaching out to somebody on LinkedIn, with you reaching out to somebody, even your own company that you're working for. Let's say if you're not working in the tech industry yet, but just starting off with a hello and establishing those meaningful connections are a part of the 3 C's. And these 3 C's are the 3 C's that I think help you to get into a job or whatever. Is you're curious, genuinely curious about that person, that you are confident in knowing who you are, and just say, hey, this is who I am. I'm confident in who I am. I'm curious. Let me get to know a little bit more about you. Who are you? What do you do? Da da da. And that you're consistent. If you're consistent and being ready to meet with that person and talk with that person, if you're consistently bringing value to the relationship, if you're consistent in just who you are, that you're not one person this day and another person the next day, those are the things that could cultivate meaningful relationships within this industry, but also meaningful relationships with your friends and family. And I'm again, this is just my opinion. This is what I'm thinking. I'm going to pass it to Damon now, but that's what I think could help in regards to establishing meaningful connections.
Yeah, and I have to agree with all of that. Like you hit it spot on, especially with, you know, the everybody provides value. Sometimes we may think, we may have imposter syndrome. Like, what do I
Yep.
know? This person has been doing this a lot longer. They've been doing this. You have some type of value to offer at all times. You may not think it's value at the time. You may not think that one of the experiences that you went through was actually valuable, but every experience and every step in your life has led you to the point you are now. So all those steps are meaningful. All those, different parts that or different quirks about you are valuable. Just value has to be valuable to the right person. And I think another great thing you said was just, when you're reaching out and you're showing that you're actually curious in that person and not just trying to use that person's time. I think that that's a huge deal because everyone loves to talk about themselves. So if you can get a person talking to talk about themselves, like, they'll really, they really appreciate that because sometimes people just want to, express themselves and they may not have the area to do it. So if you can, give them that space to, talk about themselves and kind of brag about themselves a little bit, I think that'll go a long way. But like you said, building meaningful connections. One of the things, this is one of the reasons I created the Black Tech Retreat, was to be able to build those connections, to be in, and BOK stands for build, because I want to build connections with people, being able to build meaningful connections at that, So, and I feel from my life stance, like travel has gotten me out of my shell to where I can, feel like I can talk to most people. I can talk to pretty much anyone because, I've dealt with people from all walks of life, all areas, and people are generally the same. People may have different beliefs and things like that, but people generally want the same things out of life. Um, so one of the reasons that I built this was just to be able to bring in people and connect people in ways that are deeper than just, giving out your card at a networking event, or connecting on LinkedIn. Like, no, I want to build real connections, and travel gave me that option to build real connections with people from everywhere. And I want to be able to give that same thing because once you join one of these retreats and you're in the house with somebody for 7 days, you're going to build a different connection than if you've seen them one time in a networking event. You're going to build a deeper feeling for that person because, it may be an issue, at the retreat, or, you may get stuck in the mud while we're ATVing. And the person probably going to help you out the first is the people that you live with, the
Mm,
people that have been in the house with you because they've built a connection with you. And so that kind of carries on in life as well. When you get stuck in a situation where maybe you get laid off, those people that you connected with in these retreats and things like that may be able to help you, in that hard point. Like, oh, we're hiring
mm,
over here. I can put in the word over here, or I'm actually the recruiter or hiring manager at a company where they can, bring you in that way. So I want to be able to build like our own little community of ways to just connect and really be with people, and a valuable connection, not just a connection of me using you for, you know, the opportunity that you have,
mm, mm.
you know. So that
Come
was
on
really
now.
the main point of this whole retreat, was to connect people, connect us.
So good. So good. Very well said, Damon. Very well
Thank
said.
you, thank you.
Oh man. And so with that being said, I'm just looking at the comments here. Laurent, yo, good to see you, bro. Good to see you, bro. I'm so glad to have you here. And this comment makes me laugh. I'm gonna have to post it again. I was sold at the cliffside ocean view. She's like, listen, sign me up right now. Sign
Come
me up
on and
right
join.
now. And oh no, absolutely, bro. Thank you so much. And I love what you guys are doing to innovate new ways for us to connect. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Connect with us on LinkedIn. If you are on my LinkedIn right now, you're watching this from my LinkedIn page probably. Go ahead and connect with me. If I don't respond right away, it's because I'm probably this is Saturday, so Saturday is normally my family day, and Sunday a little bit. Oh, and Sunday as well. So if I don't get to you right away, that's the only reason why. But besides that, connect with us. Connect with us. Connect with Damon regarding the Black Tech Retreat. I mean, we it's only 100 spots. I
Yeah,
didn't even talk about that. That's gonna
yeah, it's
fill
only 100 spots.
it's gonna fill up real quick. I have to probably talk about some things with Damon after this to make sure I get my spot saved. It's gonna fill up real quick, so you want to get onto that right away, and get into that. And the last thing I see here is a very inspirational interview. Thank you so much. If you want to
Thank
see
you, thank you.
more, absolutely. Thank you, Damon, for coming on as well. If you
Appreciate
want
you having me.
Absolutely. This was great. This was great. We've been trying to do this for a while.
Yeah.
So I'm glad it worked out at the right time. This was the right time for
Yeah,
this, you
I
know.
agree.
And so if you feel like this was a very inspirational interview, there are plenty more that I have on my channel as well. So definitely, if you get a chance, go ahead and go to my channel, which again is going to be youtube.com, and it's actually going to be Techniche Tips. I'm going to put it in the banner below so that way everybody could see it. But it's be youtube.com / at Techniche Tips. And what is Techniche Tips? Basically, Techniche Tips means techniques for the tech industry, tips that could help you not only land a job in tech, but to scale from there. And so, with that being said, I'm so thankful again to everybody that was able to join on this live with us. This has been a great conversation, and I do hope that not only for myself, but Damon, I think, hopes as well that we hope to see you on the other side. Take care, family.
Definitely.